Welcome again on the Cruz Cast. This is your host, Cruise Ship. And this is my podcast where I talk about any and everything that's on my mind and that interests me. I kind of just think about things I want to talk about, write it down, and I come to my podcast and start writing or start talking about it. There's a few things that caught my interest this week. One of the things is, how well is the new PS5 Pro controller that came out fairly recently, especially for that price tag. I know everyone was just talking about, it's insanely expensive. But then I thought about it. Xbox Pro controllers are also fairly expensive. So I wasn't too shocked about it once I took a step back and actually thought about it, But it is the most expensive thing out there at $200. So it is more expensive than the Xbox Pro controllers, but it is nice. So I actually looked into it. I read a couple articles. I watched a couple videos. The PS5 Pro controller, it's pretty unique, especially for me, since I've actually never had a Pro controller myself. My friends have had some, but I've never actually used one. So the Pro controller for the PS5 is called the DualShock Edge, I believe. Yeah, I believe it's called the DualShock Edge. I want to confirm that real quick. It's called the DualSense Edge. That's what it's called. It is called the DualSense Edge at $200. There's many unique features to the controller. I'll try to explain it in a decent detail. So it looks like a normal PS5 controller. It has a couple of different designs. Like the touchpad is black with the little dots being the all the face buttons you would find on your normal PlayStation controller. The face buttons are more of an accent black to counterpart the white, which I do think it looks nice. I think it looks really nice. At a first glance, I think the DualSense Edge does look really neat, especially with the black and white colorway. So then there's the features of the controller. So one of the things that Xbox Pro controllers had always had was they had paddles at the back of the controller where your fingers would rest that aren't really doing anything, like your middle finger or your ring finger. And so the DualSense Edge also has two slots only, which is weird considering that the Xbox, the highest end Xbox. I'm comparing it to the highest end Xbox because it is like $200. But the highest, I believe it's the Series 2, Xbox Elite Series 2 is what the most expensive one is called, pricing at like $170, I believe, $180. That one has 4 back paddles, but the thing is, it's only paddles. What the DualSense Edge comes with, it has like a little dome piece that you can actually hook your finger on instead of like the paddles that if you tense up, you can accidentally squeeze. I actually think the little half dome pieces, I think they're pretty cool. I think, especially never using paddles, I feel like I would go towards the dome more. But I do think that's cool. They also have the DualSense Edge also has like a couple of function buttons at like the bottom of the controller. And what I believe those are for is for sorry, my cat wants to be part of this too. This is Luna. But these function buttons make it so Um, you okay, Luna. Make it so that you can switch between specific controller profiles where you don't change anything to the actual controller itself, but you adjust the settings that applies depending on what the settings you want, depending on the game you're playing. It's four. It provides four different profiles. So you might have a profile, let's say, for Spider-Man, or the Miles Morales Spider-Man, or the Spider-Man game in general. And that might be one settings with different dead zone settings on your analog sticks, and just sensitivity and stuff like that. While maybe if you're playing Call of Duty or something, the buttons are mapped different and the sensitivity is different. So I think that was pretty cool. I did like that a lot. Apparently Xbox does have that kind of as well, but it's not as smooth as a click and then it's done. PlayStation seems very fluid, and you get what you need. Like once after you make the profile, they're very easy accessible through the controller itself, which I thought that was very, very cool. Both the Xbox controller, Xbox Series 2, and the DualSense Edge have what I don't know how to quite describe it. I don't know the exact names. I can probably look it up, but this is off the dome. This is all off the dome. I have things to remind myself, but this is everything I speak is off the dome. But they have switches for the triggers to change like when the trigger responses to when you press it. My cat is something else right now. You're making this as noisy as possible. But they have like switches to determine like how far you need to press the triggers down for like I guess more sensitive. So like, and it stops at a certain point. Stop touching that. And so let's say if you're like playing Call of Duty or something, you want the fastest response time. So you set it to this certain point where it's like you pull it down and it's not that far. So you can have a faster trigger finger. You can aim down like more faster. Like it's instant and a go. And you can adjust that in time. And I believe both controllers has it. What you get instantly with the DualSense Edge as well is interchangeable thumbsticks from the normal concave style that the DualShock 5 and 4 have, but they also have options for the I don't know how to describe it. The PS3 style analog sticks, where the analogs, it's more of a dome style analog sticks where it sticks up. So you have options for that as well. And they're, from what I've seen, it's very like when you want them to come off, they come off fairly easily, and you just use them as any normal thing. I think the best thing that comes with the DualSense Edge though is the fact that controllers get stick drift a lot nowadays, and it's very prevalent. I deal with it on even the little Joy-Cons for the Nintendo Switch, and it's pretty annoying, especially for how much money we pay for things. It is concerning that they understand that there is going to be stick drift, and that instead of just trying to prevent the stick drift at all, it's good and it's bad. But they allow you to pop off the shell that's covering the actual analog interior stuff to take them out and be able to replace it. So just in case you are getting stick drift, you don't have to send it in or repair or something. Just spend $20 and boom, you don't have stick drift anymore, which is cool. But it's also like, maybe we should just fix the stick drift altogether before sending this controller out. That's just me. I do appreciate it a lot that they do have an option for you to be able to just handle it your damn self. I do appreciate that a lot. And the Series 2 Xbox controller, Elite controller, I don't believe has that. So if it gets stick drift, you're gonna have to send it somewhere and hopefully get it fixed through a third party company or something like that, which is unfortunate. The last thing is battery life. From what I've seen, the DualSense Edge does get about 8 hours, which is not great, especially compared to the fact that the Series 2 Xbox Pro Elite controller does get like 40 hours. So that is a big time difference with lifespan on the controller. But to also counteract that, the DualSense Edge, in its nice carrying case, from what I've seen, it looks very nice. And the reviews that I've read and the ones that I've seen said that it feels very nice. It doesn't feel cheap. Where all the stuff that it comes with is in, where you get the paddles and the dome and all that. The charging cable is a super long charging cable, and it has a lock function. They give you a lock function so you can charge it while you're playing and make sure it doesn't ever like yank out per se. So I do think that's cool. Do I think it's the $200? I don't know. Also, I don't know if, because I've never really had like a pro controller. This one does entice me a bit more due to the fact that I do like the DualShock 5. I do want to spend more time with it. I do like how it feels. It's a little weird, but I do like it. I do wish that all of these controllers had better D-pads, because as a person who plays a lot of fighting games, the D-pad is one of the most important things for me. And even my favorite controllers have horrible D-pads. My favorite controller is the DualShock 4, the base controller for the PlayStation 4. Love that controller. My favorite controller. That D-pad sucks so much ass. I hate it. I hate it. I hate the D-pad. I hate the fact that if you hold just the back part and you kind of move up and down with it, you can get down, back, and up, back inputs, because it's all on one little thing. I just don't like that. I wish they would have better D-pads, but most things are using the analog stick anyways. But again, back to DualSense Edge. Has been the most enticing. I've definitely seen the Pro controllers for the Xbox Pro controllers. I don't know. They just haven't seemed like something I would want to get. The DualSense Edge so far is the most enticing I've ever been to actually getting one of these high-end controllers, because I also know that I can use it for my PC. Even I probably could use the Xbox for more consistently with my PC. It just never seemed as enticing as this DualSense Edge. You know, if I have the spare money, maybe I grab one just for the fuck of it, because it high-end quality controller, and just try it out. Even if I don't use it to its like best abilities, if I get it, I definitely want to try it. But a controller that I have tried, that I've been using quite a bit, that I do want to give my own take, is the Backbone, the controller extension for the iPhone. I want to give my personal kind of review on that, because as someone again who likes to play a lot of games, having a controller for the phone is always a nice touch. If you hear ringing in the back, that is my cat playing with her toy. It is when you first grab it, it kind of looks cheap, but when you grab it, it feels nice and firm. It feels like there's a good amount of quality to it. I like how it feels. The bumpers and the triggers for what it is, considering how they're not the best sized, but you know it's meant for the phone, so I wouldn't expect it to be the best size. I do they feel nice, and how you actually attach your phone to it, you have to extend the both ends quite apart before you put the phone into the actual slot before you play games. I think that's really nice. I think it feels good every time. I don't feel like it's stiff. I don't feel like it's that easily to break either. I would, I do wish there was a little carrying case besides the box that it comes in, because again, stick drift is a thing. I don't want to put it in my bag, especially because it's for the phone. I would want it for me on the go, like to play a game that I can play when I'm out and about and whatnot. I do wish there was like just a mini carrying case besides the little box that it comes with, because it doesn't even have a handle, which I think is kind of important, especially if like you can't take your bag but you can take something else. I do wish that was a possibility. I still think it's a little newer, and again, mobile gaming isn't that big, so I doubt it'd be something that'll happen right away. The All the buttons are nice. It feels firm. It feels like you are holding just a normal controller that has a screen in the middle. It feels good. Um, I didn't even recommend it to uh, one of my friends, but we were out somewhere and I pulled it out and started playing it, and they tested it out a little bit and they ended up getting one. And the reason that I know that they got one without them ever telling me is because it has its own dashboard. It has its own party system, and you can join parties and play games with each other. And he added me as a friend. It uh, and that comes with the controller. Like it wants you to download the app, and the app instantly gives you all the games that are like controller supported on the App Store, and it gives you the options that of the PlayStation games that you can stream and Xbox games you can stream, which they if you have an account and are capable of streaming it, uh, works pretty well. I would say when it comes to streaming games, like with PS Remote Play or Xbox streaming, I would say you do need a pretty decently strong Wi-Fi to do that. But besides that, just playing a game like on your phone, like just that's straight downloaded to your phone, it feels very smooth. It feels very, very smooth. You might have to just use the normal touch screen on your phone a little bit from time to time, because there's a lot of menu options on these mobile games, but it does feel nice. That was sick. Not gonna lie. Damn, that sure you can really was. I was sick. I was not ready for that. So the controller itself, and like the fact that it comes with the dashboard thing that kind of like organizes all your games. Like when you plug in your backbone, and there's a backbone button that kind of brings you to that dashboard, which again is very nice. It has this pause button, has a screen record, like a you can take screenshots through the buttons on the backbone itself, which is very cool. I took a quick little highlight of me playing Vampire Survivors, which is that game is crack when you're really sitting down and playing. I was it's like I was just standing still and I was killing everything. But the fact that I was able to just record it pretty easily through the backbone controller itself, I didn't have to like swipe down, bring out the control menu from the iPhone you normally would. It was pretty nice. Uh, Playing Call of Duty mobile on it is like it feels comfortable, you know, for especially for the mobile version. I started playing Genshin Impact, just tried it out a little bit. Had to go through like the tutorial mode, um, with the touch screen first, but then once you get to a certain point, they allow you to just switch the settings to controller. And when I finally started to get to use the controller, it felt really good. I did switch I switched a few buttons around for more, just for comfortability. But again, the controller itself is comfortable. It's I don't really see a problem with the controller itself. It feels good. I like using it. Makes me want to use it more, which is good because it is $100. I do think it is kind of steep for what it is. I wish it was a little bit cheaper. Maybe maybe $20 to $30 cheaper for what it is. I think that's my main gripe with it. And there's this other thing, right? That happens when you have a backbone and you own it and you attach your phone to it. They're like, and you go through the UI or the dashboard, and it goes, send your link to someone else, and you and your friend will get $10 to buy games. So I did that. I sent it to one of my friends. He bought it, but we never got our codes. And it's kind of pissing me off. Because that's $10. That's a free $10 that we both should be getting. Like a free $20. So I've tried contacting support. Nothing. We have gotten nothing. And it's been like a few weeks now, and I've actually been trying to contact them. So besides the product itself, the dashboard is really nice. Oh, my cat is messing with me right now. She's biting my hand. She's messing with me. Sorry. Besides the actual product itself, the dashboard is very nice. I do like that. Sometimes it doesn't always work. Most of the time, I'd say 95% of the time it does work. But the fact that I did actually send the link to someone, they actually did buy it. The fact that we haven't gotten our $10. Come on, like I could buy a whole nother game for me to play on their product with that. So it kind of gets me pissed off. I wouldn't say pissed off. I would just say annoyed that that we don't got it, because I could spend money on the mobile games that she's biting me. On the mobile games that they have, I could buy things within them just in case I wanted them because I had the $10, or buy a whole new game. Right? So I just wish I would get the $10. It'd be cool. Maybe I buy skins. Maybe I buy the special currency for the game. I don't know. I don't have that option though because I haven't gotten $10. And you know what game has skins that I could have possibly bought, but it actually would end up being a waste of money regardless, is Apex Legends Mobile. Why would that be a waste, you say? Oh, well, quite easy, actually. Because EA is shutting down Apex Legends Mobile. I was kind of just, I was at work. I was scrolling through my phone. And I was on Game Rant, just looking through articles to see what was interesting. And I was like, what? What's this? And it says EA shutting it down along with the mobile Battlefield. I didn't even know there was a mobile Battlefield, if I'm going to be honest with you. But yeah, they are shutting down Apex Legends Mobile on May 1st. Which sucks because I actually had fun for the time that I was playing with it. But the moment I read that, like, I got home and I don't think I even went home. I think I just was like, all right, the game's not going to be here for much longer. I think they said May, March or May. I'm pretty sure it's May, but one of the M months. So it's either got 1 month left to live or like 3 months left. Either way, it's not too long. So I was just like, well, since this game's gonna die anyways, I kind of just deleted it off my phone. I mean, more space on my phone for other shit. As, but that wasn't even the worst of it, because Apex Legends, to me, it was just like, all right, it's a battle royale game. I could play it on my phone, the mobile version, have a good time. I mean, starting out, they put me against basically bots, so I was dominating, whatever. Even when I wasn't dominating, it was still kind of fun, just messing around, just doing the things I wanted to do. That one wasn't the one that hurt. That one was like, oh, that sucks, because I actually had fun with that game, especially you be able to use my backbone. Another thing that EA did was apparently canceled a story mode Titanfall Apex kind of game. This is something I read I believe yesterday. As for me, it is February 3rd heading into the 4th because it's late. But there was apparently a game in development, single player game, codenamed Titanfall Legends, that was inspired by Doom Eternal movement, and it's probably gonna just have great movement. There's gonna be Titans that were in the last Titanfall game, story mode, Titanfall 2, and apparently they canceled it. And while I was reading this, I was actually really, really upset by this. The reason this hurts so much is because I'm actually a huge fan of Titanfall 2. I played the shit out of Titanfall 2. To be fair, I did get it on a sale, like a Thanksgiving sale, because it was dirt cheap, like a year after it was already released. But when I did play it, I was like, why didn't I play this sooner? This game is incredible. This is one of the games that I actually put the time in. And while I was playing on PlayStation, I got the Platinum Trophy, where you get every trophy you can. And that it was not easy. It was not easy doing that. The hardest one for me was get the trial run, where it was like you're like a timestamp of killing all the enemies with not killing the wrong things and just getting through it fast. Regardless, that one was the hardest one, but it was so worth it to me because it was fun while doing it still, even if it was hard. It sucks because I know, especially with the Doom Eternal inspired movement, I knew the game would be fluid. I knew it because Titanfall 2 was already fluid. And it pisses me off because EA ruined Titanfall themselves. There's no one else to blame but EA themselves. They released Battlefield the same week as Titanfall 2. You already took sales away from yourself, which is very stupid. But then they also released it in between Call of Duty and Battlefield. So every time I think about it, I get so upset because what the fuck are you doing? EA, maybe it is Respawn technically, but EA owns Respawn, so you don't think they would have an overarching say of like, hey, maybe we should push Titanfall a little bit later, towards November, because I think this is when it was. I think everything released in October. Like maybe push it a month out, just so it can get new eyes on it. So it makes me very upset because the Titanfall is actually so good, and the fact that they were developing a new story mode game that was going to really finally connect the Apex Legends universe and the Titanfall universe. I mean, they are the same universe, but finally connect the two, and it got canceled because probably didn't have enough money. But that EA is also a horrible company, anyways. So in the end, I'm not surprised because EA kind of dog shit of a company. I hate the fact that this happened. Just reading about it made it hurt. Really made it hurt. Because Titanfall, again, I would say probably top 10 game for me. Probably a good top 10. Maybe towards the bottom, but if you gave me that game right now, I would definitely play it. Even just a single player mode, that game was good. The multiplayer was good too. This was during the time where I wasn't trying to play FPS multiplayers because I was just over it. But I put the time into this one. You got to upgrade the Titan. You got to upgrade the pilot itself. Playing as both the pilot and the Titan is so satisfying. As the pilot, you're fast, you're fluid, you're moving, you're grooving. All the things people want nowadays in Call of Duty. I digress. It's like all the things though, fast, wall running, high flying, but it's fluid, it's clean. You feel in so much control and you feel fast. And then you get the Titan, you feel the power. Your mech obviously not as fast because it's a big mech, but it's powerful. You kill things easily. You do a lot of damage. And everything just felt right. And they killed it themselves. They killed their own game with where they launched it. And I hate it so much. So yeah, I would probably put Titanfall 2 in top 10. Top 3? No. I do have a top 3, obviously. I think everyone has their top favorite games of all time. And I kind of wanted to just get into that. But not my general top 3 favorite games. I wanted to start with other things first before I got into my general top 3. Because my favorite genre of video games is fighting games, there's 2 main series that really had me when I was growing up. Those 2 were Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. So I want to start out with Mortal Kombat. My top 3 Mortal Kombat games and my reasoning for them. So I'll start with number 3, then work my way up to 1. So my number 3 favorite Mortal Kombat game is Mortal Kombat Unchained. So most people probably don't know what Unchained is. Essentially, it's literally just Deception, but slightly updated, very minimal. That was, I believe, only available on the PSP. But I had a PSP, and I got that Mortal Kombat. And I put so much time into this game. I put so much time into the story mode, into the side chess mode, into the actual arcade mode. I actually tried playing a lot of the characters. That's when I really... That game is when I actually started to really like the character design, specifically of the Hotaru. His armor was sick. I liked playing him just for that sake alone. You could play at this point, because Armageddon had already been released, the human form of Blaze. So I thought that was cool seeing the before version of what Blaze looked like. Obviously, my favorite character is Sub-Zero. So playing him a bunch. I just put a lot of time into that game, and I can vividly remember myself just, on those long car drives, just playing it, and I can't put it down. And I wasn't playing any other PSP game. I just put my PSP into rest mode while that that was running, and I turn it back on and go right back into it, doing all the ladders, fighting Onaga at the end, using the charm, breaking the charm so I can actually beat him, because you can knock down Onaga, because fuck that guy. But he can knock you into the spikes that surrounded the stage. It's bullshit, man. It was bullshit. And then just playing chess with the Mortal Kombat characters was so fun. I'd make Sub-Zero my queen so he could move everywhere, and he would have the most health because of that as well. You know, it's because the pieces, depending on which character you set the piece as, is, you know, it changed their actual health amount, which I thought was actually pretty cool. I thought that was a neat little feature. Like, hey, this is a pawn, they're not going to have as much health as, you know, your queen or your other characters. So Sub-Zero is always my, like, this is my number one guy. He's got the most health, all that. I had a lot of fun. I vividly remember just playing that a lot. It makes me kind of, you know, talking about it makes me want to go back and play it. And that's at number 3. That's just number 3 for me. Number 2 is MK Trilogy. So, not the one most people would probably say, at least that grew up in the arcade era of UMK3. MK Trilogy, the one that released after it, because I don't know if I actually had an arcade release. I think this one was just a home console release only. But my cousin had an N64, and my uncle also loved Mortal Kombat. So he got the N64 cartridge of MK Trilogy. This was my first experience and my first introduction to Mortal Kombat. The palette swapped ninjas, all the stop motion pictured animation characters. I don't know how to describe the character models, but either way, this was my introduction, and having just countless nights of me and my cousin just playing MK Trilogy and trying to beat these stupid hard tower modes, because again, it's still trying to be an arcade game, so those games are going to beat your ass. Us playing against each other in these like 5v5 modes and trying to figure out the fatalities and special moves, and we figured out Scorpions and Sub-Zeros obviously, but we couldn't really figure out anyone else's, but because we also really didn't give a shit, because we wanted to play the ninjas because they were fucking ninjas. And this is where my introduction of Sub-Zero being my favorite character is because everyone likes Scorpion just because he said, you know, the famous line of "get over here," you know, and he actually had a voice line. I honestly didn't care for it. I didn't like his yellow that much. Again, because they were all palette swap ninjas anyway, so part of it is just, do you like the color? And I really liked Sub-Zero's blue. I thought it was a very nice, kind of like teal looking blue. It was a bright but captivating blue. And I thought his moves were super fucking cool. He would shoot an ice into the air and it'd come down right on top of you. He had his ice ball. He had the ice clone and the ice puddle and the slide. I thought it was gimmicky and fun all at the same time, especially for a kid who probably shouldn't have been playing Mortal Kombat at that time anyways, but we didn't even know how to do the fatalities. So who cares, right? But this was my introduction to the Mortal Kombat series, and I can't remember how many times I've played that game with my cousin on that stupid fucking N64 controller. That controller is actually dog shit. Hated it. The 3-stemmed controller. But it will forever have a place in my heart, and Trilogy will hold that number 2 spot. Due to just being my really big introduction to Mortal Kombat. My family was a big Mortal Kombat family, so I was probably bound to get into it, but that was the introduction for me. And again, that game will forever hold a place in my heart. It's I'm just thinking about how we would go into the settings of the game, turn the game to very easy, turn on auto combos for us, go to the easiest tower, and we still couldn't beat any of the towers because that the game was trying to beat you at all times. No matter how hard we tried, we couldn't do it. I probably still couldn't do it to this day because arcade games, because damn, they are tough, man. They are fucking tough, but I love them. But I love that one. And at the top of my list of number one, Mortal Kombat X, as it should be said, not Mortal Kombat 10. Whoever says 10, you kind of, I don't know, maybe need a smack in the mouth. But MKX, this is the game that brought me more than I could ever hope for, just because of the aftermath of me actually playing it. The reason this is number one, it's the first fighting game that I actually tried to take seriously. The one where I sat down and tried to learn more than just the combo. It's a game where I try to understand more, try to, like, obviously I try to learn the combos, but then I try to learn how to make, like, how to hit it on an opponent in an actual match. The game where it pissed me off so many times, but I kept going back to it, and not just because I love the game, because of the characters, the introduction of Aaron Black, the introduction of Kotal Khan, he's all right. The introduction of Cassie Cage, Jackie Briggs, Kung Jin, and Takeda Takahashi and Takeda being Kenshi's son, and Kenshi already being a cool character. The cast, I enjoyed the cast. I obviously played Sub-Zero. I played Kenshi. I played some Aaron Black. Then the DLC characters having Jason, the Predator, Alien, Leatherface, and then there was Tremor. He turned out to be a really cool character. Boraicho never really cared for. Tanya didn't care for. But then they added the robots of Smoke, Cyrex, Sector, and Cyber Sub-Zero, because Cyber Sub-Zero had just gotten introduced in the previous game in MK9. And he was kind of like a kind of secret pick, because you had to know how to do the variationalist pick for characters, and that's how you got Cyber Sub for the robots. I love this game. When I first started playing, I already knew I was going to play Sub-Zero eventually, because he was my favorite Mortal Kombat character. So I started with Aaron Black. I remember just going in there and trying him out and thinking he was cool because he's a cowboy in the Mortal Kombat universe, and the way he looked looked like he had armor on with the mask, and then of course the cowboy hat. And so it led me to just going online on Twitch and asking people if they wanted to play. And I just remember it got to a point where I asked this one dude, who was a good Takeda player. He whooped the shit out of me. He beat my ass. I got upset, but I kept coming back and talking to this dude. We'd play MKX, and led me to meeting more people and more people after that. And to this day, I talk to a lot of the people that I met through MKX. So again, the game not only was so fun to me, that it's fast paced, it's go, 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 it's bullshit everywhere, but it's fun bullshit. It's not stale. It does get me mad, but things that we love eventually do get us mad. Eventually, because it's not always going to go the way we want. And I had anger problems when I was younger. It's the aftermath of it all, though. It's having the friends that I still talk to this day, the memories. It brought more for me than I thought than a video game could ever do. is what I thought. Is what I'm kind of trying to say. It brought me lifetimes of friendship. So I do have to thank MKX for that, and I can go back and play that game right now, even if I know it's gonna piss me off. I love it, and I love what it's done for me in making friends. And so that's my top 3 favorite Mortal Kombat games. My top 3 Street Fighter games now. So at number 3 is the first Street Fighter I tried to take seriously, Street Fighter 5. So the first game I tried to take seriously was MKX, and not soon after this was Street Fighter 5. I think it was around 2017. Because I think I had dabbled with Street Fighter 5 because someone had brought it over one day and we played it. It was fun. I had always liked Street Fighter 5, but I was never good at the game. I could never really do a consistent fireball or a Shoryuken. I was just a button masher, but I finally committed to trying it and sitting down, and it was season 1, and I always liked Ken more than Ryu, so I was like, all right, time to go play some Ken. Got my ass beat a bunch. And I also realized that trying to hit multiple buttons on a controller, it kind of messes with my brain a little bit. When I'm trying to do a motion and like buttons, my brain doesn't work too well with it, and I don't get the things that I want consistently. And so this is so I asked to get an arcade style arcade stick where it has the joystick with all the buttons on the thing that sits on your lap. This is the game where I took the time to learn that for the first time. And it was definitely a big learning curve because I had never taken the time to learn one of these. The only time I ever played them is on a normal arcade game, like a TMNT game where it's just a simple move left, move right, press the jump, press the attack button. No, this was I'm learning inputs of down and the fireball, backwards fireball, the Shoryuken of forward, down, down, forward, then the super double fireball, double quarter circle forward, basically. And I'm trying to learn that, and I'm learning it all for the first time on something I've never really spent that much time with. But it still felt very comfortable to me. And so I kept learning, and I was angry. I was an angry teenager. So I had the same one for a while, but I graduated high school and I finally got my own money, and then I broke the first one I ever got. I was a little upset with myself about that because I usually treat my higher valued equipment better, and considering that was over $100, that to me that equates to usually something I would take care of more. I was a little upset that I broke it, but I did get a much more higher quality one as well as in the Kwamba Obsidian. I don't even remember the first one I got. Which I'm a little disappointed in myself for not remembering. But the Kwamba Obsidian is a much heavier, sturdier stick. I got that, and I kept pushing, and I kept learning, and I learned a lot more about the fundamentals of not just Street Fighter, but fighting games from playing Street Fighter 5, and I have a lot to thank for that. And again, it's brought me a lot of memories, and I still watch Street Fighter 5 content to this day because the game has lasted so long. It was just updates because that's how Street Fighter does. And I'm very I'm very thankful because I feel like Street Fighter 5 also brought me some friendships that, you know, I didn't think it would just bring. Um, Street Fighter 5 is also the first game I ever tried to participate in a local tournament for. I've gone to two now, and it's a good experience. And again, I made some more friends just through that, and it's very meaningful to me, and I'm very appreciative. But it's only number 3. And number 2 is Alpha 2. Street Fighter Alpha 2, baby. Not Alpha 3, Alpha 2. Something, I don't know, it's Alpha 2's aesthetic with the announcer. I will say the announcer's not as good as Alpha 3, but it's still good. But the aesthetic, the characters, the way the game is played, the different isms, I think it's just the aesthetic overall with Alpha 2 that makes me love just watching it, that I can go and watch some Alpha 2 right now. And why does Alpha 2 hold something special in my heart as well is it's one of the very few games where I've actually played the arcade cabinet, where I put some quarters in and played the arcade ladder with Ken, and just started playing. I think it was just like at a simple restaurant. I was out with my family and we were just we were just going to eat, and we finished eating, and you know, before we sat down, something caught my eye. It was a very small little game center thing, but something had caught my eye. Street Fighter Alpha 2. I had asked my mom for some quarters if she had any. She gave me some quarters. I think in total I used like 6 quarters. I don't think I beat it, but I think I got damn close. And it's moments like that where I have just fun by myself and I didn't need anyone else. And just the sound, the aesthetic, the characters. It's like the art style is just it's really cartoonish, but it's still unique, and I love it. It has its simplicity that really catches my eye, and then the game itself is also fun because it's still kind of fast, but it's also different than what you get from other Street Fighters. So I easily, like, out of my 3 favorite Street Fighters, I'm definitely the worst at this one, but I'm perfectly okay with that because I do enjoy Alpha 2. And again, it's something like I don't even have to play, like it's something I could watch all the time. My number 1 favorite Street Fighter, and if you're caught up with with anyone who likes Street Fighter at all, this is not new to a lot of people, but Third Strike. Street Fighter Third Strike. The game is beautiful. The art design is an animation. It's fluid and has a more serious tone with it, but it works so well. Has a pairing system, and the soundtrack. Oh my gosh, the OST in that game is iconic, and I can recognize a song from that game at any point and moment. The I actually put some time into this game playing Fightcade, and I've played like with people on an arcade cabinet with this game too. But I specifically went to a barcade just to do this. It was really fun. It's a really fun game. I think it the great thing about Street Fighter is they're all different. I mean, I guess with all most I guess with between Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, each new game is vastly different than the previous. With Third Strike, it's so different from Alpha 2, and Street Fighter 5 is different from Third Strike, and Street Fighter 4 is different from them. I I love Third Strike though. And this one also again has a special place in my heart, and not just due to the fact, I've played on the arcade cabinet with people before. I've actually put the time in playing it. I love the OST and the art. But the most famous fighting game moment of all time, Evo Moment 37, was played on Third Strike. It's the most infamous, is that the right word? I'm going to use that word. But the most infamous clip in fighting game history. Anyone who's in the FGC knows about this clip, as it also brought a lot of new people into fighting games. And I'm one of those people. I remember I was in my class on a computer, in a computer class, and I was just scrolling through Reddit, and it was like the tag was the most clutch comeback in history, blah blah blah, and I couldn't stop rewatching it. The amount of times I saw that clip that day was, I don't even remember, because it was amazing. Because I understood what a parry was at that time. I can see that he was parrying the move, and parries are always been hard, and I know that because at that point I'd played a lot of video games. So Daigo Umehara parrying Justin Wong's Chun-Li's super art, and then doing the combo to kill with the super of his own to clutch it out while he's at a pixel. It's something amazing. And that clip alone is something that will always bring me back to Third Strike no matter what. That clip alone, that's the clip that made me go pick up MKX. That clip made me go pick up MKX because I was more familiar with Mortal Kombat, at least. But a Street Fighter clip made me go pick up a game and try and learn it. So that's why Third Strike holds the number one spot. The game is fun. It sounds beautiful. It looks beautiful. And it's the reason that game, with a very specific clip, is the reason the genre is my favorite. The genre may be my favorite, but funnily enough, there's not a fighting game that's actually in my top 3 for all time of general games. So my top 3 games in general. Let's start out with number 3. Doom Eternal. This is why the cancellation of that Titanfall game hurt a lot, knowing it took inspiration from Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal is like the fighting games of first person shooters and high paced action. It's a Twitch shooter, but I wasn't around during those when those shooters were out. I didn't know what they were. I knew RPGs and fighting games and FPSs growing up, but not like Twitch shooter FPSs. So I played the ever living shit out of Doom 2016. I thought that game was great. I already had a blast playing that game. I wouldn't have put it in my top 3. I would say it was still a really good game and I would recommend it. But because of my love for the 2016 Doom, I had pre-ordered Doom Eternal and I was so excited for it. I was ready to play the shit out of Doom Eternal. I was getting all hyped up. I placed my pre-order at a GameStop. In the pre-order bonus, I got a little lunchbox. As weird as it is, it's still on my desk, and I use it for something very important to me. It's actually pretty nice. I won't lie. But that game is so good. The soundtrack, just like the 2016 version, is really good. It keeps you energized because there is not a slow moment in this game besides like maybe the puzzles of platforming, because you have so much mobility that they can provide platforming puzzles. But they threw the pistol away. 2016, you start out with the pistol. They're like, nobody uses the pistol anyway. You start out with the shotgun. Let's go kill some shit. That's how the game starts. You start with the shotgun. And then you get to swing on monkey bars. You get a pretty good jump. You get all the crazy glory kills. They give you some pretty big enemies fairly early on, even in the first level, like the Arachnotron. They're like, yep, you're fighting this thing, good luck. And I started on the hard difficulty because I like a little bit of a challenge, especially for something so fast paced. What I didn't know is how fast paced Doom Eternal actually was gonna be. I'm locked in. I don't know what anything else around me is happening, even when I don't have headphones on, because I need to stay focused, because if I'm not moving and I don't know where all enemies are, I will die, and it's a great feeling. That's why when games even remind me about Doom Eternal when I play them, oh, I'm already having a good time. RoboQuest reminds me of Doom Eternal just through the mobility aspect and kind of how fast paced it is, and that's why I think I like it so much. So Doom Eternal, easily number 3 spot. It's only number 3 because I need to play it more, but I need to play it more because I just haven't played enough. I didn't know when the DLC drops, so I actually never beat the DLC, but it honestly would be worth it to go back and play again. And if I get a Steam Deck, I honestly might just get Doom Eternal just so I can play it whenever I can, because it's so worth it. At my number 2 spot, a game that I have played a lot, I've replayed multiple times, gotten all the endings. Even though there's only 3 endings, I've gotten all the endings. I've gotten all the trophies. PlayStation exclusive, Bloodborne. Oh man, my cousin got me into the Dark Souls series with Dark Souls 1. I played that game. I was pretty proud of myself that I played that game and I beat that game. I didn't play Dark Souls 2, but I did play the shit out of Dark Souls 1, and that game is also top 10. I'd give it top 10. But Bloodborne is something different. I remember seeing trailers of it like when I was out and about, and I was like, damn, that looks like Dark Souls. I didn't understand game companies quite yet. I didn't understand like, a company can make different games. I thought Call of Duty was only one developer, not Activision and Infinity Ward. Like it didn't click with me quite yet at that point. And then my cousin, who actually had a PS4, he's like, yeah, I got it just for this game because it's made by the people who made Bloodborne. I was like, oh, that's sick. So the first time I tried it, it was fun. And the reason why I like it more than the Dark Souls series is, again, it's faster paced. It entices you to be more aggressive. It wants you to attack. If you get hit by certain moves, if you attack fast enough, you can earn some life back from the damage you just took. It wants you to be fast. It wants you to be aggressive. And that's just in the gameplay aspect, because I already known the Dark Souls gameplay is very slow, methodical, block, dodge, roll. With Bloodborne, you didn't really roll unless you were not locked onto something. It was kind of like a dash thing when you would dodge in Bloodborne. I thought that looked cool. And then the gameplay, again, faster paced, so I was already enjoying it. Their shields were not a thing. It was guns, and the guns were meant to parry. That's your parry tool. And I got pretty good with specific enemies. It's mainly the beginning area enemies on parrying, so I could run through the beginning area fairly quick, and getting all the secret items and all the secret keys to go to the secrets. Obviously, because I played the game so much, even being a PlayStation exclusive, I can come back to that game and play it like nothing. I love that game because aesthetically, it starts out like werewolf vampire type thing. Is that Van Helsing style? I don't quite remember, but that's how the aesthetic starts out first. It's dark, it's grimy, it's got like these werewolf type beasts and like this and that. But as you continue with the game, you realize that's just the tip of the iceberg. It goes from like I'm gonna keep calling it Van Helsing style, but Van Helsing werewolf vampire type thing. And as you progress further and further, it strays further and further away from that, and it becomes more alien, a more alien aesthetic. And it's kind of hard to explain because it's just, it becomes more alien. The things you fight are more alien-like, and you kind of don't know what's going on. And no one really does know, because even all the lore items and all the items you get, because you're supposed to kind of learn the story through the vague names that you're given and all the key items that you get, and you're supposed to read the description. Like, no one truly knows, but there's like a vague idea of what happened. And the kind of like mysteriousness that Bloodborne has, along with what you go through, and then the gameplay, it's so good. That game has also pissed me the fuck off again, because it's a Soulsborne game, so it's meant to be hard. I have definitely thrown my controller because of that game, but I also came back every time. So good. Love that game. I couldn't recommend it to any more than to anyone who enjoys that kind of game. And the number one game My number one game that I somehow to this day just keep coming back to because it's always so enticing is Devil May Cry 5. The closest game to an actual fighting game that I is my number one. A story-based, no multiplayer, fucking stylish beat 'em up game. Capcom game, also like Street Fighter. I remember the launch, like the launch, not the launch trailer, but the first trailer at like the E3 Xbox show, and they fucking showcased it. I was so hyped because I had already loved Devil May Cry 4. And the only other Devil May Cry after that was the DMC Dante, the one that no one liked. So I loved Devil May Cry 4, even though I know it wasn't finished. I think the introduction of Nero was so cool. I thought his arm design with his coat was fucking sick. With his blue rose, the two bullet shooting revolver, and then Red Queen, the sword that revs up so it can have flames. I fell in love with the character instantly, especially with the opening cutscene that he has with Dante when Dante busts through the ceiling, shoots the Pope in the face. Boom. That's the introduction to Nero. And so I went through the whole game and I fell in love with Nero. And so now Devil May Cry 5 is announced, and now we have Nero and Dante again. Now I'm already excited. I'm so excited for this game. This is before it even comes out. I'm ready. I'm ready to play some Devil May Cry. So the game comes out, and I can't put it down. I can't put it down. Every time I would come home from work, I'm playing this game as much as I can. I think the story runs to about 6 to 8 hours. So it's not that long of a game, but I think I've beaten it 6 to 8 times at least. And I just started playing it again because of the PlayStation Plus package for the PS5. It released a special edition of it, and I restarted it again because I love it. It's so fun doing the cool shit. It's got cool combos with cool character designs, with the cool with the great OST in the background. And as you progress, you get stronger and you can do more cool shit. You fight cool enemies. Ugh. It's just Nero gets cooler with his new arm stuff, and then Dante is fucking sick, and then you get V, the puppet character. You get to play all these characters, and then there was the Bloody Palace edition where you're like, all right, I'm gonna take my favorite character, I'm gonna blast through waves and waves of enemies. Literally the thing that you want to do is just style on fucking these assholes. And I'm gonna do it again, and I think every chance I get, I'm gonna keep doing it. That game is too sick. It's literally the epitome of style, and the game doesn't always take itself seriously. Nero and Dante are these badass dudes, and they don't take their enemies seriously unless it's an enemy worth taking serious. Just thinking about that game makes me smile because I love that game. All my top 3 games have something in common. Fast paced, doing cool shit. And I realized that I love fast paced shit. So if a game is too drawn out, I don't think I could finish it. So, game should be more like DMC, Bloodborne, and Doom Eternal, or just be a good fighting game, and I'll play it and like it. All right. Well, that's all I got for today. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll catch you next week on the Cruz Cast. Thank you, and bye-bye.